Hello, YouTube. ZiggyNo back. Yep, I'm back. Just when I thought I could get away, they dragged me back in. And let me tell you, man, no one drags me back into hobby content like my buddy here, Chris, over at House of Jordan / Card Ladder / Collector's Universe. Man, Chris, you were like the Lex Luthor to my Superman. So thank you again for what you did last night in this video. Let me also thank Dakota over at Sports Card Anonymous. Please, I'm a huge fan of your stuff. Don't take what I'm going to say, what I'm putting out is negative. I hope you'll listen to me, and I hope other people, whether you're on a, team Card Ladder, team ZiggyNo, team whatever you are, listen to what I'm going to say. And please comment back. I'm open to your feedback. I don't block people. I want to hear. I'm open to open debate. I'm even willing to do a live and take people on and conversate about this and think about it. But look, here's what I'm talking about. This video is so wonderful because, gosh, normally I disagree with like 80% of what Chris says. In this video, I think I disagree with 99% of what Chris says. The 1% I agree on is that I do think the hobby's at this crossroads. Now, I think you could turn left and right. We're both going to end up in the same road on the hobby path, but how you get there will determine by the path or the religion you decide to follow. Pay attention. Okay, Chris starts this off. Let me go down. I wrote these comments down here. Chris starts off telling us the importance of the hobby with content. My first question to him that I would ask him if I was Dakota or somebody said, why is it important? And he goes on to talk about what it's important for the growth, right? He says that good content can help grow the hobby, and that's why we need good content. And there's too much bad content, and it's going to hurt the hobby. Let me just say this: why? Explain to me, as a collector, as someone who's been in the hobby off and on my life, and just recently back with my sons, why do I want to compete with more people? Why do I want to pay more for something? Right? Why do I ultimately want to obtain something that's going to cost me money that I had to spend so I can put it away in my staircase or my basement, man cave, enjoy it? But why would I want to do that? Think about labor I put into something that I want to trophyize. Why do I want to make that more and more difficult to get and more expensive? It's not logical. The only person that would want more demand in a supply and demand market are those people who are going to profit off it. If I'm wrong on that, please call me out. But that's my first question. Saying, why do you think, Chris, that we need more content to make the hobby help? Hey, I've been saying this for years. As a collector, we're going to have a correction in the market. That's what's going on right now. Not everybody who came here in 2020 is going to stick around. That's freaking logic. You should be thinking that out. That's a healthy correction. There will be more than there were before. Okay. Now, my second thing, Chris says, we need investors to help grow the hobby. Why? Why do we need investors to grow this hobby? I don't understand that. The hobby's been around for 100+ years. Have we always had these major investors that we are lacking now, or we just had entered the hobby in 2020? Explain to me, what is different between 5, 10, 20, 25 years ago than now? Either the investors have been there or they haven't, but I don't see how investors are going to make this a better hobby. I disagree. In fact, again, going back to my logic, investors mean that more people are expecting a return on investment. Therefore, they're going to extract money out of whom? The collector. So that's counterintuitive to me as a collector. Again, if you're a team investor, yeah, sure, you want investors in this. It justifies, hey, you're an investor too. It justifies you being in it, right? I'm the cult, you're in the cult too. Cool, we're team cult. Okay, so again, I think someone needs to challenge that. I disagree with investors are needed. Let me go up here. Chris is critical on content. Why is his content different? And this is a great question. He talks about there's too much negative content. Chris is very creative. He's very intelligent. He's not going to call any specific content out. He's not going to say any names. He bounces around that, and I'll get back to that in a moment. But tell us, Chris, why your content is good, or give me examples of good content, please, because I don't know. Now, what I know, I followed Chris for years. I followed Chris since probably about 2018, 19. And my recollection of Chris is that he started on Bench Clear Media. He started with a podcast, actually. And then that podcast, when he went to YouTube, he joined Bench Clear Media, if I'm not mistaken. And that was around 2019. He's no longer part of Bench Clear Media, which you can look up, okay? But he had an interaction with them. He was part of them. He also, in 2018, was involved with Josh Johnson on a how to collect cards. And he was a testimonial reference in a video where he said he took the class, and Chris and Josh's class taught him how to collect cards and blah, blah, blah. You can make money collecting cards. It was a pay for class. That's not a secret. That's his history. Those are content that he created. When Chris did create House of Jordan, he was selling content. He sold these reports, which later on became market cap reports or something like that. Right? He was one of the first people to do that. He was selling reports. It wasn't just listen to House of Jordan and tune in and subscribe. It was, hey, if you want to help support the channel, buy our report. He was selling reports back then. He then had many promos where he used to get his Cardlander channel, to get his House of Jordan channel over 1,000 and to monetize, which many of us were doing back in 2020. And he ran a contest, which it went bad. I was part of it and was actually knocked out of it. And he sent me a consolidation prize, which I appreciate him doing that. All this is factual, and I can back all this up, by the way. That's why I know this guy so well. it was in early 2020 that he was on Jeff's show. And yes, Jeff and I was friends with Jeff because I was involved in Jeff's Facebook group. And I was friends with Chris because Chris was on the Facebook group and we used to chat through Instagram and stuff. So we're all kind of friendly. I remember him going on. I promoted him being on the show and he's very positive about the hobby. And then only 6 weeks later, he launches Card Ladder, which at the time he says was going to complement market movers, not compete against market movers. Okay. So just a few background. So was any of that content good? I should also mention that when he did launch his Card Ladder product, he had this feed in there where he put content providers in there and he censored me from that. I used to be in the feed once or twice. Then he censored my channel because my channel put out content on market movers as well as Card Ladder. I put out content on everything. I put out content on everything going on in the sports card community back in 2020. Go back to my channel and you can see the content. Chris censored me. He was a censor. So I think that's important to emphasize here. This is Chris, guys. This is Chris. All factual stuff here. Again, he ran the how to collect card thing with Chris. We talked about the subscribers. Okay. He goes on and mentions a referendum for leadership. Hey, you know what? Good idea. I've kind of said that we need a leader. I kind of wish someone would step up. Now, I hate to say this. I would rather see Jeff lead that than I'd rather see Chris. Now, the reason for that is I've seen Jeff change over time. I've seen Jeff listen to the community. I've also never, ever seen Jeff do anything wrong, shady, grifty, nothing in the hobby bad. I haven't. And if anybody has, you know, they focus that microscope on him really, really closely. So if you have that, let me know. But I can tell you, for example, in 2020, at Dr. Beckett's content creators lunch, it was Jeff who sat up and gave a testimonial how he's changed his policy because he listened to the fact that he was influencing buys and sells with his picks, right? It was Chris and Josh who sat quietly in the corner while they were still running a how-to class and a weekly or monthly newsletter on picks. Facts, guys, facts. They sat there quietly while Dr. Beckett was saying we needed content leaders and changes in the community. Other people in the room sat there and said, no, it's a buyer beware community, buyer beware in sports cards, okay? Now, again, Chris didn't say anything. He never supported it or endorsed it, but he sat there in that room. Oh, I know, hang in there, guys. You can read this too, but I want to elaborate a little bit more. Don't need special econ score. Oh, this is another thing. Chris talks about the decline of sports cards in this video. Market's going down. That's why we need better content to attract better people. We need investors, make things healthy. Look, any idiot, pardon my French, anybody who understands graphs and charts, when you see a trend like this, market is growing regularly, and then you see a like this, you know, a spike like that, if it just a spike, you should expect there's going to be this thing called a correction. Okay, it's just normal. Every market does that. So it didn't take a genius. My 12-year-old could look at the graph and go, oh yeah, it's going to go down. Yeah, it will. It's not going to go down negative to what it was, say, pre the 2020 world. In my opinion, it might hit that or something. I don't know. We could see that, but that's normal. That was expected. That's why the market's changing. People are changing. Their interests are changing. I'm changing. I got things going on. My life's real. People got stuff going on. Sports cards also are not a real investment, right? Investment's a loose term. I'm not going to sit here and debate that. I can invest time with my kid. I can invest time, planting flowers, and maybe I sell some flowers at the garden, and then I'm making some money. That's a hobby. So investment's so vague, okay? But sports cards are not traditional investments, which brings me to this Michael Saylor part. Okay, look, I don't want to go too long on this, but WTF? Again, this is an example though where Chris he wants to make something Chris does. He talks down to his audience. Okay, he's higher than you, he's greater than you, he's smarter than you, he's more intelligent than you. He's going to use other people who are smart as him or smart that you should know. You know Michael Saylor? Did you know Michael Saylor should have done this. If he had bought football cards, he would have made 6 times money. Let's talk about that Saylor and this whole thing. Look, I didn't research this, but here's the fact, guys. Bitcoin is finite. Okay, sports cards are infinite. There can be many. I know certain ones have rarity, blah, blah, blah. But in general, they can be printed, man-made, counterfeited, whatever. Can't do that with Bitcoin. That is why Saylor invested in Bitcoin. If I was going to bet, like many people in 2020, looked at the financial markets and the world today. We are printing money. We're printing money, I think 7%. We printed more money to keep up with inflation. I mean, the money out there is fake. Let's not talk economics. Let's just say this. This is not an economics discussion. I'm not an economics expert, and I'm not going to comment on economic leaders, but I'm smart enough to know that's why the market changed. And Saylor would not have bought, if you would have turned it back and go, man, I wish I would have bought sports cards. No, he wouldn't have, because going liquid, show me how he goes liquid right now in the sports card investment. You can go liquid on Bitcoin like that. Okay, so stop doing that to me, Chris. You're just full of crap. I think about his whole argument. It's misleading. And again, his whole point is to convince people, again, it is. This is a huge red flag. Why is he telling me this story? Like, Chris, why are you telling me the story about Saylor? Why are you telling me we need more sellers in the house than collectors? Tell me, it's because you need more money. You need more money to buy your subscriptions, buy your stories, buy your reports, buy into your mentality, your cult. Okay, Christina makes a comment on you'll know bad content when you see it. I can't disagree more than that, Christina. That's such a naive and horrible comment to make. If anything, in sports cards, that's one of the problems. You don't know what's real and what's fake. You could be watching videos of sports cards and realize this is from 19 or 2018. And it could be when, the Heroes of Sports was being released, which was a scam product. Or you could be watching, just one breaker, and you might not think that everything's done one way the breaker does it. There's so many reasons why you need more content. The content, for example, there's no verification of it. You need a policing community that talks and communicates and calls BS out on other content creators, right? That's why Facebook communities I've always liked, because they'll push you out. You're full of BS, we'll kick you out, right? Okay. Again, there's so many good content creators. Let me also make a comment here. Am I going to get to this? Okay. How do you feel, Chris and Christina, about being what I consider the creators, the founders of the market cap valuation? Now, again, I'm not going to sit here and debate this all the time here, but I think by now we should realize that sports cards do not have market caps. Okay, a card's value, like if I buy a Luka card at the show for $1,000, doesn't mean all Luka cards are worth $1,000. It's not. If I sell it for $200, doesn't mean all Luka cards are worth $200. It is not how this thing works. Okay, stop thinking that way. Stop taking. Also, what do? You calculate on a pop count based on PSA only? You don't look at all the other graders. And if you do, you tell me you calculate all the graders and all pop counts are accurate. No, you're taking inaccurate data and you're making inaccurate claims based on inaccurate bullshit from some dude who sold you a market cap report. Think, people, think. He is horrible. It's complete BS. Card Ladder is based on it. Guys, if you're using Card Ladder, stop. I'm not going to lie, stop. Cancel your subscription. Go use Cardhead. It's cheaper, it's better, it's smarter, gives you much more information. I'm not even going to mention market removers. Don't even use market removers. Go use Cardhead. Freaking use eBay. Call me. I'll run a report for you. Again, I applaud the people who make these comments about his censorship. If you've listened to this video, if you're listening to his video in the mind, this man is, Chris is really losing it. He's on this rant. He's so anti-Jeff. It's ridiculous. He's on this censorship. You should know. And if you're not in line, you should step out of line. We should force them out. What was his quote? I think what he said here. I forget how he worded it. Push out. They should be pushed out. They should be pushed out of the community. Again, I want to point this out. Chris was part of BenchClear community. BenchClear, if you go look at BenchClear Media, if you're not following BenchClear, they're one of the best content providers in sports cards. They're doing a show out there called Chasing Cardboard. It's going to be phenomenal. Also, they're in a community of probably, 100 different collectors and YouTube content creators. And you know what they do every year? They do a Hall of Fame where they vote on each other. They get together in this thing called Lollapalooza and do videos together. They meet at the National together. That's a community. Chris was part of that. He's not in it now. He never talks about it. Why? Why? Think about that, guys. Think about that. Think about that, right? Another thing, Chris won't call out Jeff, and in the video, people talk Chinese. Chris is clearly making attacks at Jeff. He is. Why doesn't he call Jeff? I'll tell you why. Chris is smart enough to know what he does is he uses others to make attacks for him. As example, Lamine James, who everybody loves. Chris would go to Lamine James. Lamine James would come out with videos that were attacking Jeff, would call it Sports Card Investor, make Jeff look like he was a shepherd leading sheep to the slaughter. And then Chris would go on his channel and make comments about, oh, did you see the Lamine James one about Battle of the Beasts? The meme he did, recreating the Battle of the Beasts from Game of Thrones. Well, of course, I'm going to go check it out. When you go check it out, see it's an attack on Jeff. So indirectly, he uses that to attack him. Then he puts Lamine James on his channel. He gets him subscribers. He commends his great content. He applauds him for calling out the grifter. See, he feeds into that. And give you an example, I know specifically a content creator that was an affiliate of his that I got into a little tiff with years ago. And the two of us, he made videos about me, I made videos about him. Short story. We spoke through a mutual content creator. I spoke to this other content creator. I apologized. He apologized. We realized we're both very much the same, right? And that Chris was manipulating him and telling him falsehoods about me. And everything I said about Chris was true. Think about this. Think about this. I could give you this content creator's name. I'm not going to in this video, but I can prove everything I'm saying, guys. That's how Chris works. He uses others to attack people. He uses others to attack people. If you're part of Chris's little collective, if you've got YouTube interviews with Chris, you should start thinking about the community that you are with. You are guilty by association, in my opinion. Okay, be a little more aware of the company you are keeping. Notice Chris says, okay, here's I got some closing remarks. Okay, notice in the video, Chris will use the term, they conducted independent studies. What the fuck is independent studies? Who's they and what independent studies did you collect? And who was the independent party that conducted the studies for you? Give me a break. And he also says, and he gives his opinion about what the content is, and the feedback I've received agrees with me. What feedback? What feedback did you receive? He uses, this is him making up stuff. This is him. It's a great technique of, I sound smarter than you. I talk down to you and I'm gonna give references. I've received independent studies. I had feedback. I am a master of the data. My favorite one, and this is something I called out about him back in 2020 when he was building Card Ladder. I said, well, why are you any different than market movers? What are you different? What do you offer that market movers doesn't? And his answer was, I curate the data. What are you talking about? You curate the data. Why do I care? As a buyer and seller of cards, I don't care. No one ever goes, hey, what was the last 3 golden auctions of this card when they're at a sports card conference? They're not doing that. They've either made the research when they're coming in to buy that big card, or they're buying a small card that's not shown up in those auctions. That is useless data that they give you. They sell it to you as, oh, we're curating the data and we keep the best eBay data. No, they get to pick the data they want. Now, again, I'm not going to argue this, but what makes you different, Chris? What makes Card Ladder different? And here's the funny thing. If you listen to his strain, he's complaining later on about how he works 7 days a week and they're always working all the time. He created a product that cannot scale. It cannot scale. He cannot scale it. It's dependent on his manual labor. It's dependent on Josh's coding as fast as he can. Jeff is a businessman who's built businesses. He built a platform, a system, a business. He could walk away tomorrow and market movers would continue on. He could build 3 more other market movers. He could extend market movers to doing data from eBay on cars. There's so many things that he can do with that platform that he's built. And Chris loathes that. Think about that. Jealousy, envy. It's going a little crazy on the censorship, guys. Okay, I made the comment there about bench clear again. You can do some research on this. I will say this too, Chris, if you're watching or any Chris fans, Chris fanboys, look, I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm just calling Chris out because Chris, you are saying stuff that you need to stop saying. Someone needs to call you out. You need to be censored. I welcome Chris anytime in an open debate, live to speak to him and talk to him about these things. And you see the questions I'd ask you. Why do you want more people in here? Why are you using predictive skills? Why do you mislead people? Why were you selling picks? There's so many questions I could ask him. He knows not to talk to me. I'm asking you guys, turn him off. Cancel Chris. Cancel Chris. That's right. Censor Chris. Thumbs down on Chris. Guys, let's stop this. I've said my piece. I'm trying to think. Oh, last few things. Again, you listen to Chris. Most of what he says are lies, and he's a hypocrite about his actions. He doesn't do what he says. And I pointed that out, and I can do it again. Right? He talks down to people. He's an elitist. He even gets commented, so makes a comment, he sounds like an elitist. And he does. He sounds very elitist in the comments he makes about IQ, and he needs the smart people, and the people to be manipulated. He's the father, though, of many of the minions that he created. He created a lot of this hype. He takes no responsibility for this. He also doesn't give, how do we get together? Then he makes a comment, I wish we could all get together. Tell me how. Give me an example. I'll give you one, Chris. Come out, confess what you're doing. Say, you know what, I'm gonna have Ziggy on. Ziggy and I are going live. Let's have a little come to Jesus confession, and let's lay out a plan on how we bring the community together, because it could be done. Find leaders that are driven by the collectors, and let's put together kind of a collector's bill of rights. But let's also be honest about what we want here. Do we want growth in collectors, or you want growth in money and numbers? Are you feeding the Lubers of the world, or are you feeding the Pepino Mans of the world? Shameless plug there, guys. When you guys, Dakota, when you go, oh, I use Card Ladder all the time. I love it. If you want to sign up for it, hit my link below. Please. That's horrible. I'm shameless. Dakota, really, really like you, man. You're a good friend, and I do anything I can to help you. But please, I hope you cancel Card Ladder. Again, go use Card Hedge. I don't know why you continue to use the tool. Again, the data could be accurate, could not. The founders are very, very shady at best. And it's just not needed right now in this world. Spend the money on something else. Card data is the content. I love his comment about our data is the content. Again, why is it different? Tell me why your data is any better than Jeff's. I can tell you 1,000 reasons why I think Jeff's data is better. I can actually verify it in eBay and go over and look at eBay, and there it is. Look, it's all there. Wow, amazing. He gives me historically accurate data, gives me ability to store it very quickly, lots of menus options, rich functionality. It's a software platform with features and updates. It's got everything I want in sports cards. But go use Card Hedge. That's my recommendation. That's it, guys. Have a great day. Thank you again for watching.